Now let's head over to Edo State, where the state governor, Monday Okpebolo, on Monday, pledged to secure Edo State for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's re-election in 2027, promising to deliver all 18 local government areas for Tinubu's second term. Okpebolo spoke during the flag-off ceremony of an expressway in Benin. He praised the president's commitment to infrastructure, saying that Edo State is gradually developing like Lagos. Let's take a look.
This is a legacy project. When I say Edo not be Lagos, we say no, now Edo not Lagos. So the good things that is happening in Lagos is now happening here in Edo State. What can we say? Thank you. Baba, thank you. Tell Mr. President, we will even take our campaign to other states on his behalf. 2027 is a big deal here. It is sealed for Mr. President. It's not negotiable. 18 over 18. We have 18 local government. When I meet 18 over 18, we are going to deliver for Mr. President.
All right. Okpebolo there, going to deliver Edo State and probably other states to Mr. President come 2027. Dr. ABATI.
Okay.
Over to
Number
you.
one, Governor Monday Okpebolo. It's very good to see him, flagging off the construction of, I think, is Benin-Asaba Expressway. That in itself would help a lot of travelers, people going to the east, and if completed, the people will benefit from it. And I think that it is projects of such nature that Governor Monday Okpebolo should be concentrating upon. He became governor just in 2024.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Is it even up to a year?
No.
And he's making it his priority to deliver 18 over 18 local government areas in Edo State just to like President Tinubu. That should not be his priority. It is the people of Edo State who should decide how they will vote. By what alchemy, strange alchemy, is he in a position to say he's going to deliver? Because when politicians say they will go and campaign and all that, they probably mean something else. I think he should first of all justify his election by serving the people of Edo State. And I align that with the observation that it's too early in the day to begin to say a governor that has even not spent a whole year is making campaign for the president, his priority. It's marks of, what do they call that word again? Sycophancy, bootlicking. What does this my brother call it? Political crunkum crackam. Obayago. You know Obayago? It's Patrick Obayago that talks about crinku crinkam, whatever that means.
Political
but in any case, we should just be serious. And this is the point we were making about the challenges of democracy. Whether President Obasanjo says democracy has failed in Africa or Mr. Obi says democracy has collapsed or is collapsing in Nigeria. I made a point that the major problem here is leadership recruitment process. Yes. The kind of people who lead in many of these African countries, they are not fit and proper persons. And that is why we have problems in many of these countries. Look at the problem they had in Niger. Even the military people that came to take over, they had the support of the people because the people were saying, look, we have been suffering under the yoke of bad governance and French neo-imperialism. In the other countries also, whether it's Gabon or it's Guinea or it's Mali, it's also complaints about, governance. What we need is to begin to prepare a generation of leaders who will not grab, as President Obasanjo was pointing out, who will place the greater emphasis on service. But this alimentary politics that we seem to have in place is the bane of the democratic process in Africa, in Nigeria, and other African countries. Because the problem, really, even when we talk about the domestication of, the democratic process or homegrown democracy. If we look at the original values underpinning democracy, we don't have leaders that promote those values. That is what we should address, in my view. And Okpewolo, I repeat, should pay attention, to the work that he has been given by the Edo State people. And he should leave it to them to make their own choice in 2027. After all, freedom of choice is the pillar of democracy. Yeah. It's not for anybody to say this is what will happen in 2027, either in your hamlet or in your state or in your local government. Leave that to the people. Govern well, then the people will make up their minds.
Well said, Dr. Abati. Now let's take another story. Senator representing Kogi Central, Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, has urged the public to disregard reports claiming she had apologized to the Senate, labeling them as completely false. In a statement released on Monday, Natasha insisted that she will not be intimidated into silence. Let me read her statement then. She wrote, I, Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, stand firm in my resolve to never apologize for speaking my truth. The desperation to silence me is palpable, but I will not be intimidated. The games being played in full view of the Nigerian people will be exposed, and the corrupt individuals who have hijacked our institutions will be held accountable. As a senator, I have a duty to represent my constituents and uphold the principles of justice and transparency. My allegations against Senate President Godswill Akpabio were not made lightly, and I will continue to seek justice and accountability no matter the cost. I will continue to fight for the rights of Nigerian women and ensure that our voices are heard. I urge the public to ignore the viral report claiming that I apologized to the Senate, as it is entirely false. I will continue to stand by my truth and fight for what is right, even in the face of adversity. Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. Well, in the meantime, the Federal High Court in Lokoja had vacated an interim injunction that barred the Independent National Electoral Commission from accepting petitions to recall the senator representing Kogi Central, Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. The court initially granted an ex parte application by 5 registered voters who allege that the recall petition contained fictitious signatures. However, the order has now been lifted, reaffirming the constituents' right to initiate a recall process. The case is set for further hearing on May 6. Meanwhile, registered voters from Kogi Central have petitioned INEC in Abuja seeking to recall Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, while leader of the group known as Concerned Kogi Youth and Women, Charity Omole, said they have lost confidence in Natasha because of her alleged gross misconduct at the Senate. Let's take a look.
It is concerned citizens who feel that we cannot afford not to have a senator for 1 year in the Senate. 6 months in the Senate is 1 year. So that's why we're saying, instead of having a vacant seat, we are recalling her back home so that the INEC declare the seat vacant so that we can elect someone who prioritizes the people than ego.
Well, all right. I mean, I believe that the petition has been received by the court March 24th, but RUFAI, we did see this picture that is now trending on social media. I'd like to pull up that picture of this Charity lady, and it's a picture of her with former Kogi governor, Yaya Bello, who actually basically gave Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan problems during her election time. And now we see this man with this woman in this picture now circulating online. I don't know what that connotes, but obviously Nigerians are asking questions. Meanwhile, we also saw a video. I think, Rufai, you were the one who posted that video on X. I saw that video of, showing signatures or people gathering in one location. If you can pull up that video, showing them basically looking like they are signing. What is actually going on here, Rufai? Because I saw this on your X account.
Okay, can I comment on all the stories?
Yes, I mean, go ahead.
So, those are some videos that have come out as regards people allegedly in a part of Kogi, and it was said that people are filling out registers, for a recall. So what has apparently happened is that, you see, nobody is saying Akpabio is right or wrong on this sexual harassment issue. All we have always called for is, please, he who alleges must prove, and that can only be proven when you have an investigation set up. So I've heard a lot of legal experts say, oh, it's not the case of the Senate, they should take it. Whatever they are going to investigate the case, they must be able to investigate that case. And Natasha must also give her evidence. If she is found wanting, I will be the first to come here and berate her. All right? Senator Akpoti must give her evidence, just like Mr. Akpabio must be allowed to give his evidence. But I think it's the offshoot of it that is now very hard. The fact that there were court violations, all of a sudden the process leading to her suspension, and now, all of a sudden, because of sexual harassment case, we're having a recall. Yeah. There are two factions. That lady, I think I've been able to check through the ranks. They say she holds a governmental position or something, and she has definitely alliances. We've also heard some intelligence that have come out that have said the plan was orchestrated by some top political actors to be able to recall her. So the question will be, why trying to recall her over, this back and forth that is going on between her and the Senate president? So there's a level of high-handedness. The shocking part now about the recall is, please correct me if I'm wrong, I hear the total votes that they used to win the election, because it was a very neck-and-neck election, I'm not sure totally was up to 105 or 110,000. All of a sudden, they are claiming that they've gotten over 250,000 signatures or over 200,000 signatures. So you are wondering what's really going on here. Those are the questions. Also, the judiciary has been brought in. I have a story I've not independently verified, that the judge that first gave the ex parte has now recused himself as regards this recall case. Because guess what happened, Oji? Senator Akpoti went to court to be able to get an ex parte motion to be able to stall the recall process. Yeah. The judge granted it, but as at the next day, he had rescinded his decision earlier. So a lot of people are wondering what is really going on here.
Those are the questions.
All we just want is fairness in this matter. We are not saying that Senator Natasha is right or Senator Akpabio is right. All we just want is fairness and non-high-handedness. Right. That's all we are calling for.
Meanwhile, before I come to you, we saw hundreds of Kogi Central residents who took to the streets this week in support of Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. The protests were triggered by the attempts to recall the senator. The demonstrators carried banners that read, Natasha, pride of Kogi Central, and we stand with Natasha. Let's take a look. All right, Kogi residents there. But let me just take this story still in Kogi State, where a bazaar empowerment program by a minority leader in Kogi State, Idowu Ibikunle, has set social media buzz while in a video making the rounds. Ibikunle was seen handing out one motorcycle tire each to his constituents in his local government area as part of his efforts to empower the community. Let's take a look. What's actually going on? Kogi State, what's happening here? So what's going to happen to the second? I mean,
so I know that motorcycles have two tires.
I thought so
at least
too.
Giving them empowerment for one.
Yes.
They have to go and source for the second. So it's part funding or match funding.
Oh, part funding.
Match funding. I give you one tire.
Yes.
To show your seriousness, look for the second tire. These are the kind of things you say are the problems of democracy in our nation. Whereby a lawmaker, who should be recalled? There's some lawmakers that should be recalled. Like, tell us what you're doing for your people.
Right.
And so in his assessment or in his report to his people, he will say that I did empowerment program and I empowered people. I would like to understand the research that he did to understand that the greatest need of this community is one tire for their, maybe a lot of them say they have issues with one tire on their bikes. I just really want to understand the reasoning behind this.
Well,
But this is, I mean, jokes aside, just going to Senator Natasha's case, the truth, I mean, I'll just say this, that the woman who is against her is a senior special assistant on youth and women mobilization in the Ahmed Governor Ododo. Yes, she's women mobilization. I wish she would use her influence and powers to really mobilize women for good and for good things in her state. But here we are. If she thinks this is priority, let's see how this will end. But quite interesting.
Well said. Well, all right. We'll take another story now.